Hey guys, what's up? So before moving to Japan, I had this perception about Japanese people that they're very shy, they're very quiet, they don't really talk a lot, which to some extent is correct, but not 100% right. Now, since I live in Japan and I work with a lot of Japanese people, I know that a lot of my colleagues are very shy and very quiet, but at the same time, I have a lot of colleagues who are very talkative and they're very outgoing, and also they're very loud as well. And I know a lot of people who are interested in Japan and who have never been to Japan, they, just have this image of Japan through the internet, which to some extent I feel like could be correct, but sometimes there's too much exaggeration or there's a lot of myth to it. That's why today I'm going to meet Sayaka, who is Japanese, and Omar, who is half Japanese, and I'll talk to them about these, this image of Japan that people have. To what extent it is correct, or where do we find too much of exaggeration or just misconception. So without further ado, let's meet them.
Hello, my name is Sayaka. I have a YouTube channel with my best friend Omar. It's called Onigiri Dope. I grew up in America. I was in Iowa and New York for 13 years, and I've been living in Japan altogether for 15.
All right.
Hello everyone, my name is Omar, and I'm part of Onigiri Dope. And I've been living in Japan for 15 years as well. I grew up in Peru, in Lima.
I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people love anime, but I think when I was little, there were negative misconception about anime being like a lot of nerdy people like anime and it's not something cool. But I think more people are accepting that anime is, awesome.
So I think anime is popular, Japanese anime is just popular everywhere, right? I guess that if you compare it to other countries, because if you look at the adult population, I guess that, Japan, yes, there's more adults in Japan that watch and appreciate anime than if I look at the adult population of other countries, probably, right? And
I think there's a wide variation of anime in Japan more than other countries. That's why a lot of people like anime, but like different types. I used to be into Sailor Moon, and I used to dress up as her every day. I think 10 years ago, there used to be like Harajuku girls where they dressed up in like Lolita clothes and very anime types of clothes, but now it's died down a little bit. So not a lot of people, I don't see anyone doing cosplay nowadays.
But if I walk to in Harajuku specifically, or like Takeshita Dori, which is one of the main famous streets there, it's very likely that I'll see, I'll definitely see a Lolita, somebody cosplaying any day in Harajuku, I think, if I looked for it.
I think it used to be a trend 10 years ago, and now it's more about street fashion. So typically, I think in America, when people try to act cute, they're called like dumb blondes. They act stupid and like curl their hair. But in Japan, it's called buriko, and they usually talk in like high-pitched voice and like act dumb, I guess, and like look cute. And I think when I was in middle school here in Japan, I saw many of them. Like they would act differently towards me, whereas if they're in front of boys, they would act like dumber. So I think there are still people that like act that way. Maybe it's influenced by anime, I'm not sure, but
it's hard to generalize and say that Japanese girls are a certain way, but so I've lived in Peru. I lived in the States for a year. I guess if I compare to, and I went to an international school in Peru where there were people from different countries, right? And yeah, I would say like generally speaking, sometimes Japanese girls do. How can I say? Like, yeah, they'll do whatever the guy wants. For example, like, hey, what do you want to eat? Oh, I'll eat whatever you want to eat, kind of thing, right?
I think it's changed. Like I was telling you, there are a lot of like IT companies and like startups that are emerging in Japan. And as a woman, I see like women CEOs and like startup companies having more women managers. It is a delicacy. I think it's a traditional food to eat whales or dolphins, but it's not common at all.
I've eaten horse, raw horse. That's more common. That's more common.
Okay, so that's one other thing, because people sometimes think, they're eating whales and dolphins all the time, but it's not like that. Which is also leading to the next point, that Japanese people like eat sushi every day.
We eat sushi a lot, but not every day.
Right. How about in the US, like when you were there, like did people talk about that a lot? Like, hey, in Japan you eat sushi?
In America? Yeah, definitely. People call me sushi. So. I think Japanese people use technology, like the most recent technology, to entertain and for customer service purposes. But maybe like technical things like Wi-Fi, fax, those are still we're behind.
I mean, yeah, so you come into Japan thinking Japan is like top notch, you know, when it comes to technology, and I guess those are the things that come out, right? Oh, there's no Wi-Fi here, like what the hell?
I think when it comes to change, it comes like very slowly for new technology in Japan. So like even the cashless stuff right now, a lot of stores are implementing them right now. But like traditional stores and like little stores still is just cash. I think it is expensive, but you have to know places to go. Some places are very cheap. It really depends on the city where you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's not cheap, but you don't have to be a millionaire to live in Japan right now.
So if you are making like $2,000 to $3,000, and if you're married with kids, do you think it's?
I mean, not in Tokyo.
Oh, not in Tokyo.
Not in Tokyo, right? But if you live, for example, in Gunma, which is just an hour and a half, it takes 90 minutes to come to Tokyo, right? I mean, with $3,000, I mean, because you can get a decent apartment for say $600.
So if I get the same apartment from Gunma in Tokyo, the same size, how much that would be?
No, it's a little triple.
Like almost $1,000?
No, it's gonna be like almost $2,000.
$2,000,
I guess.
Same house. Wow.
Like yeah.
Tokyo is expensive.
Like a Tokyo, center Tokyo, you know.
I think that's why it became a myth or a misconception, because usually people come to Tokyo.
Right.
They're not going to like countryside or Gunma or like, right? So when they come here, they just automatically assume, entire Japan is like that. Right. So.
But at the same time, I used to live in Singapore, and the rent in Singapore was way more insane than Tokyo.
If you compare Tokyo and Singapore, let's say, how much was the difference? Like if, let's say, an apartment, like a small room, like a studio, $100, like $1,000 here, what would that be in Singapore?
Like double.
No, but apartments in Singapore are huge, though. I mean, the ones I've been to.
It depends.
And they come with a maid and all this kind of thing.
No, it doesn't.
Misconception, Singaporeans, you gotta make a video on that too.
Oh my god.
I went to my friend's apartment.
Weird. I mean, I think it's a good weird. Like, there's a lot of different cultures, traditions, like all jumbled up in this one city. It's a huge city, and there's something for everyone, and it's an amazing city, honestly.
But I think it does have its weird side. Maybe foreigners think it's weird because touristic places are weird. Like, for example, there's a place called Kawaii Monster Cafe, and that's a cafe made kind of targeted to tourists, right? And then you go in there, it's super weird, right? Or if you go to Shinjuku, there's a place called the Robot Cafe, and I've been there. It's so weird, but that's for tourists, right? So
what do you think of Maid Cafe?
I mean, maid cafes are also kind of for tourists too, right? Like, I mean, Japanese people understand that they're perceived as weird, so they make weird stuff for tourists to see, right?
I think it's getting better, as you said, because of the Olympics. They're implementing a lot for foreigners, but I think it is still difficult to get around. Like the train system, I think it's very complex, and a lot of places don't have English translation, so I think it is very difficult. My friends, like when they visit, like they just press random buttons and like the water shoots up, so it does happen.
I mean, but yeah, no, I mean, I love that it's warm in the bidet and everything. It's
yeah, the seat warms up when it's winter, right?
I think there's a huge misconception about Japanese girls being easy, and like, for example, I think in the USA they call them like yellow cabs or something because you can ride them.
Oh, I heard that one.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't think that's true at all, right? I mean,
so guys, thank you so much for your time today. It was wonderful meeting you, and I really hope to do some other collaborations later in the future. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video today, and I wonder, what are the misconceptions people have about your country? Please do let me know your comments in the comment section below, and please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, smile. Peace.